Hi everyone, I'm Gina Minardi and I'm a licensed therapist who got fed up with therapy. This is a one-woman show about my journey of finding the spaces between non-traditional approaches of healing. What I learned is that there's no one right way to heal, and you truly are your best resource. Therapists and healers are meant to support you on your path, but they don't have all of the answers. You do. This show is about the spaces between laughter, tears, thoughts, ego, soul, messy growth, and moments of joy. It's about personal liberation, inner knowing, and the tools that get you there. I will cover topics that make many of us uncomfortable and interviewing people who are willing to go there. I've spent thousands of hours listening to human beings navigate their life story, from rehabs in Malibu to homeless shelters in East LA, and now my private practice. It has been some of the most profound, painful, and beautiful moments in my life. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, friends. Today's episode is a very, very special one for me, as I recorded this before Mother's Day, which always happens to bring about a lot of emotions and things forward for myself. But before I introduce my next guest, I wanted to let you all know that I'm really excited to be running a retreat down in Sayulita, Mexico from June 22nd until the 28th. It's going to be a week of self-exploration, yoga, surfing, dancing, and meditation. Please email me at gnminardi81@gmail.com if you're interested or if you have any questions. You can also check out my Instagram at Gina Minardi to get more information from the flyer. Now on to my next guest. Alicia Ace Easter is an incredible soul. She's a yoga and meditation instructor, as well as a master Reiki practitioner. And she's on a mission to empower others by helping them work through their emotions physically. It's a journey that began when she discovered the emotionally healing powers of yoga while grieving the loss of her mother, who died of pancreatic cancer when Ace was 19. With national bestselling author Jennifer Pastiloff, Ace co-hosts the podcast, What Are You Bringing? And has interviewed experts such as Elizabeth Gilbert and Erin Brokovich in subjects on social justice, sex and love, spirituality, and more. Ace and I sit down and talk about what it means to now be motherless daughters, the nonlinear journey of grief, the wisdom that we gained, while stepping into our power and voices as women, and also learning that we're sovereign beings who can heal ourselves, the gift of humanizing our mothers, and our mutual love of Beyonce. I really, really hope that this episode touches you as much as it did me. And again, if Ace is listening, I want to thank her for being on the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spaces Between. I am through the roof to have Alicia Ace Easter on the show today. Hello, Ace. How are you?
Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm good. As I was saying before, right before we started, I got done on a beautiful hike this morning, and it's always a good way for me to
awesome.
Check in, get grounded, especially before I go into a podcast interview. And you were saying, and you got a 3-mile walk in?
Yeah, I just came back in from a 3-mile walk. I do my best I do it every day, but I do 3 to 4 miles. Most days I do 4 miles a day, a walk. And I had to drop some packages off for some candle orders this morning. And so I made the post office drop and then just did my walk. And I have this amazing park near my house. So I do a lap around there and then I walk around the neighborhood, and it's great. It's like I started it a few months ago and it just kept me sane during, the quarantine. quarantine when we were all sheltering in place.
Yes.
And and I love it. And I've kept it up because it's good for my heart.
Yes.
And like also I'm doing it not to lose weight, but I like it because I have lost weight. So it's great.
Yeah, it is. And I find that I am a big walker. Actually, I have a lot of friends that make fun of me that it is my main exercise, and I feel the best thinking and just, as you said, and it's also great exercise. And in quarantine, it was the one thing that I could go to. So yeah, it's good. Which that actually brings me to, what were you going to say?
No, I was saying, it's great.
Which you brought up quarantine, which I told myself I was going to stop asking my guests this question, but I think it is a really important question. 2020, all of us, there was some deep work and some deep things that we had to move through in 2020. And what do you think as you're transitioning into 2021? What did you learn in 2020 on an individual and collective level? It's a big question. And then moving into 2021, what are you bringing into 2021?
Yes, I love that. And I love that said, what are you bringing? Because that's the name of our podcast.
Yes, it is.
Jen and I's podcast. Yes. Shout out to Jen Pastiloff. I love you. We love you.
Yes.
Yes. So the biggest thing that I learned in 2020 individually was that I am more capable of doing the hard things, and I'm capable of doing the hard things on a consistent basis. And I'm capable of doing the hard things until I don't think they're hard anymore. And actually in realizing that they weren't hard to begin with, I was just afraid. And so then recognizing that I was afraid of succeeding. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of, being seen truly. And so being able to let that silliness go, let those stories that just simply aren't true, letting that out of my psyche, those memories out of my body. And the biggest thing for me in doing that was forgiving my father in the spiritual realm. So really developing a spiritual relationship with him, which has been beautiful. And as a collective, I've learned that we all are grieving. Yeah. And I knew that we would all get to this collective way of grieving. And so being able to hold space for myself as part of this collective and as part of the work that I get to do, holding space for those who are grieving, who probably aren't even realize they're grieving because they just only associate grief with losing someone, rather than losing, the routine, their day to day, the freedom that they thought they had to come and go when kind of the whole world had shut down. And then now that it's beginning to open back up into 2021, and just recognizing that we all have this amazing ability to do what we all have this. Okay, let me back up for a second. Last year, I was working a job where I'd been in for almost 7 years, marketing for commercial real estate. And I realized that working from home, I had been suffering in this job. Not that it was a bad job, it just wasn't the job for me. And so with me recognizing I can do the hard things, I can let go of the fear, I can let go of, as soon as I let go of the fear, as soon as I let go of the doubt, it was this launch pad for me to say, I can't suffer anymore. And so as a collective, in addition to us grieving as one, as a whole, we also, I think, recognize we can't suffer anymore and we shouldn't suffer anymore. So let's take our power back. Let's take our, our birthright of rest, our birthright of taking our time and doing what we love at the end of the day and what we were put here to do at the end of the day, right? And it's not to suffer. So that was like one of the biggest lessons for me. I resigned in December 18th, 2020 was my last day there. And so it was like, I was like, like, this can't, I'm not suffering anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. And it will all figure itself out because I've been planting these seeds. And so it's time for me to fly. And coming into 2021, recognizing and saying, like, what am I bringing? I'm bringing joy. I'm bringing my authenticity. I'm bringing like my ability to be warm and light and shift the energy in a room. I'm bringing and I'm owning my beauty. I'm owning my love of my body. I'm owning love, like I'm owning full body love and full heart love, full heart explosiveness. Like, my heart is so full right now, and it is like, it's the best, it's the most authentic I think I've felt in a really long time, in a while. Like, it's a new level of authenticity, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think there's levels to
Yes,
it. I think
do
there's
too.
100% levels
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
And so it's just like another level. I've up leveled like a video game, right? And I know it's awesome.
It is awesome. Yes.
It's awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. And so 2021 is my year of like saying yes. It's my word for the year is growth.
Yeah.
And my goodness, has the universe and God have been providing on like every level. So yeah.
I mean, I just have so much to say to all. Number one, you brought tears to my eyes because I resonated so deeply in what you were saying as far as, and I feel like with a lot of my female clients, it was the year of stepping into your power. And it was the year of really stepping into authenticity and pulling back the layers of bullshit and kind of noise, or as you were saying, the suffering, and really looking at, okay, what in my life is keeping me in a stagnant space, or a space of deep suffering, or kind of, not moving, And like you were saying, I mean, that's a huge, I'd like to go off that for a little bit. What pushed you to resign? Because I know for clients, many people that I've worked with, it's a huge, careers are safety. Money feels safe, right? All these things that, as I would say in sort of my Buddhist philosophy, can be a bit of an illusion, but also truth, right? We all have to have food on the table. We all have to have a roof over our head. But it sounds like you really dove into fear and taking a risk, and you just sort of launched, you catapulted. What do you think it was that you just were like, yeah, I'm done?
I mean, it was like me. I met someone, a friend who's been helping me like with my business and as a business partner. And so when I met him, it was in October 1st, and I was like, okay. And so he's like, what do you do? And we're talking, getting to know each other, and I wrote down kind of everything that I do. And he looked at me and he looked at my offerings and was like, you're sitting on like $500,000 worth of like valuation right now. And I was like, what? And he was like, yes. And I had never looked at the breadth of all that I have to offer. Like, I'm an ordained minister. I teach yoga. I meditation, a master Reiki practitioner, brand ambassador. I do some modeling, like podcast co-host, like looking at all of these things. Like, and I also coach clients and teach kids yoga, and, just I'm all about, as we talked about, the Motherless, holdings of like each workshop that I do monthly. And I have all these things. And so I was like, so me looking at all that I have to offer rather than in this one individual container, it's like this whole vessel, right? And I was like, wow, I'd never looked at it like that before. I'd never looked at the entirety of it. I've just kind of been in one thing, and I'm looking in this one thing and then moving on to the next and the next. And so in realizing that, because I started the candle line in the middle of in July last year. So I just kind of started the candle line because I was like, this is something that I want to have that is mine and be able to bring light into people's homes. And by way of I can't think of a better way than selling candles, literally light up a room. Yeah. And so I said, okay, so I'm going to start a candle line. I was still working my full-time job. And then I kept getting busier and busier. My schedule kept filling up with things that were outside of the job that I was doing Monday through Friday. And so I was like, okay, I've got to figure out something. I got to figure out something because it's not fair to the team that I work with. And it's not fair to me to keep straddling, right? To keep on this like tightrope of like, okay, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And my boss was frankly getting really annoyed, and I kept getting in trouble for like not delivering, which is like, I don't like to not deliver. I don't like to not meet deadlines and whatnot, right? So I said, it's time to not, fear was like to let go of like thinking in the lack of what I don't have and thinking in all the fullness that I do. And thinking, and that was the push of like looking to see, okay, you have all of these offerings. You have so much to offer right now. Let's not worry about the, we don't have money, or like insurance and all these things that the safety of a corporate job provides. But you will be okay. And recognizing that I will be okay. I've always been more than okay and more than provided for. So it was time, and it just took me waking up one day, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and all I could think about was candle inventory. I was counting candles in my head and my dreams. It was like all I could think about. And I said, it's time. Because I'd written my resignation letter like 60 days before I turned it in.
Whoa.
And and then I kept getting scared. I was like, I don't know. This is so crazy. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm just going to walk away from this job. And it's like, yep. The universe and God was like, yep, yes, you are, because we have so much more for you. So it's time to fly. And that's what happened.
Flying and stepping into your fullness and embodying just what you were saying, embodying that fullness of all. As I was reading your bio, just to go back through it this morning, and I went, man, Ace does it all. I mean, the Reiki, the yoga, the podcasting, you've led retreats with Jen. I mean, and there's so much light that you bring. I mean, I know you and I have only met once in person at Jen's. Shout out to you, Jen.
Yes, Jen, we love you.
Yes, we love you. But just that megawatt and that light that you bring. Yes, absolutely. I'm so stoked for you that you did that. And I would say equally, it was my year of, people who've listened to my show know when I got sick with COVID, I went down, like down for about 7 weeks. And it was a real, as I say, either come to Jesus moment or dark night of the soul, really, where I really had to go inward, and I really had to sort of look into forgiving and recalibrating and looking at my life and looking at how I want to live, and in fullness, as you were saying. And so then the podcast happened. And as you said, I think it's like we come to these moments where you just go, what's holding me back? It can't be the money. It can't be the safety. Just diving in and doing the damn thing. So amazing. What would you say out of, because being next to you, you've got a pulse and you've got an energy and you have a power to you. So, and in my own life, I've done a lot of healing, and there's a lot of modalities that I've, used, whether it's therapy, meditation, all sorts of stuff. In your own healing, what has really been some of the most effective healing modalities for you? Because I feel like sometimes it brings us more into our fullness, and as you were saying, authenticity and taking these leaps.
For 100% yoga. The yoga asanas, moving, that was the launch pad, that was like, that brought me, stepping onto the mat. My first heated yoga class was like, okay. And so that is one, because I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm very much believe in moving your body to move things out. I mean, I just have to move my body every day, because if I don't move my body, that's when I notice I start to kind of like get into this dark space of like, all right, like get into this whole, like, and begin to almost spiral down this place that, like I said, it's just simply not true. And so I have to move my body every day. It's just important for me, and my number one self-preservation and keeping my self-care intact. And then, when I was introduced to Reiki, so when I was introduced to Reiki, it was shortly after like a breakup that happened, where a relationship that I was in for 7 years, it ended, and I was heartbroken. And so I was introduced introduced by a dear friend of mine to Reiki. And that has been something where it's like, oh my gosh, having Reiki be a part of my healing modalities, like in my toolbox, game changer. That's why I knew I was called to learn more about it, become a Reiki practitioner, and then last year invited to become a master Reiki practitioner. So, was doing it for a while and had the ability to offer Reiki for a while, but I really didn't start offering it as much as I'm doing now until I really started to feel it in my body. So really giving myself time to really feel it, own it, embrace it, breathe it like it's air, right? My teacher Tracy Stanley says, practicing something, a sadhana, for 40 days, right? So it's like having something, learning something, embodying something 40 days before you teach it. And so then having that be a part of it as well. And like acupuncture became something that was really important to me. I haven't done that in a while. But doing the walking and doing the meditation. Yeah. So really deepening my meditation practice and my breath work and understanding how the breath works and how we breathe. And, because most of these yoga classes aren't teaching that. I know where I first started practicing yoga, it was just like an athletic studio. It was like, okay, it's heated. We're going to do this athletic, for sequences. And then that's it. But we're not really getting into, a lot of teachers weren't really teaching the lineage and the breathing and the meditation. None of that was happening in the classes. So now I bring all of that into my teachings. And so I'll teach a hot flow class, and then we're going to have some sort of meditation. I always bring Reiki into it as well, invite Reiki into it also, because that's just like, what it's all about. So that is something, those are like, and of course, like I said, like the walking, paramount for me. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, just everything that you said. And it's interesting, when I went to grad school, that was one thing that they really never talked about, was when you're doing therapy with clients, exercise, moving. I mean, all the things that you talked about really were about getting into the body to some degree. I mean, Reiki differently because it's an energy clearing. I'm actually not super familiar, even though I dive into all healing modalities. I've never had a Reiki session, but
let's change that.
Let's change that. Do what?
Yeah, well, let's change. Yes, we're doing Reiki when I'm in Ohio next. So we can even do a distance. Okay. I do a lot of distance stuff now with my clients, and distance Reiki and meditation and whatnot, which is just beautiful.
Yes. But I just want to go back on what you were saying as far as moving the body. I want the audience to tune into this. Move your body. It's so important to just, whether it's a walk. And that's the thing. I think a lot of humans, when they get out of practice of exercise or out of practice with yoga, many people I know from the pandemic, just altogether stopped. And just getting a walk in, even if that walk is 20 minutes. Yes, I hear you on all of those. And acupuncture, my God, acupuncture is amazing. Yes.
It really is. It really, really is. It's like, I haven't seen Dr. Mason in a while. Like, I need to go see him. Just like it's just beautiful. And then in realizing all of this, Gina, is, in all of this, in 2021, I'm recognizing my real, true ability to heal myself, to, doing, sovereignty, having full sovereignty over my healing, over my thoughts, over how I move, how my day goes. And I get to choose, right? I wake up every day and I'm like, I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing love today. I'm, grateful for this day. I start the day in gratitude, and even if some days it's like, which most days it's not that hard, but some days it's a little harder than others to really find the joy right when you wake up in the morning. But for the most part, it's like, all right, we're choosing joy today. I'm like 10 toes down. Let's go.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But piggybacking off what you said, the sovereignty, I think there was a long time in my life where I was always outsourcing to others, whether it was intuitives or even therapists. And not that any of those things are bad. I'm a therapist, but this year, as you were saying, has really been the year that I realized I can heal myself, and I really can go in and intuitively connect with what am I needing, and also what are the messages that are coming through in my body and, beyond, and connecting to that space. It's the whole reason, this podcast came to be, is the idea of the space between, getting into that God space, and that, and really, and that we all are part of that, and we're all divine beings. And so really that's been the biggest shift for myself, I would say, this year in 2021, is that ability to heal, because we are connected to all things and all beings. Yeah, it's been a big one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. It's been huge. This has been also, I would say, in total alignment in your year of just stepping into the power, the authenticity, and my voice. When I was reading your bio in that, right, that took you a while to really step into your voice. And for me, that's always been a huge hurdle of really stepping into my truth and just saying what I want to say. And to everybody listening, I hope you do it too. It's huge. Yeah. What have you felt from that, as far as like really stepping into your voice and really honoring that?
Oh my gosh. I'm sharper. I'm quicker. I'm faster. I know exactly what I want and what I don't want. Like, I say yes immediately, or it's a no.
Yeah.
And I love you, and it's, what also I found with my voice is like, I have so much power. I am so powerful. I am so beautiful. I am so incredibly brave. I am liberated, and really saying that and owning it and walking around, and then also being like emboldened to, teach kids this too. In my kids' yoga classes, it's like, hey, we are brave, we are bold, we are peaceful, and, finding, being able to, and sometimes like, I have sometimes trouble articulating or thinking things are a bigger deal than they actually are, but most of the time it's me. It's like me just kind of being like, okay, so we're feeling this in our body. Where are we feeling this in our body? Okay, and what are we afraid of? Why are we feeling this way? What are we feeling shame, or are we, scared? Is this? And I also do a thing where I can now recognize, oh, that's 38-year-old Ace, or that's 8-year-old Ace responding. That's 10-year-old Ace responding. That's 19-year-old Ace who just laid down next to her mother, who just took her last breath. Like it's who is responding right now? Who is reacting right now? Who is reacting to this right now? Because if it's younger Ace, then I can go back and I can sit for a minute and I can soothe her. And if it's 38-year-old Ace, it's like, okay, quick reminder, sis, look at all that we've done.
Yeah.
And look at all that we have accomplished. Look at all that we're doing. Look at us just being here, right? Like, so me recognizing my voice, sharing my voice and being honestly, like, not protective or guarded, but just really like selective about who I share my energy with, because Gina, and I don't, listeners, I invite y'all to do this too, because you recognize how fucking great you are, and it's like, I'm just not going to like solicit my time out to just any old body, like I'm not just going to, because this is my energy and the work that I do, it's important and it's important work. And I'm blessed that I've been chosen to do it. So recognizing the voice is also realizing when, no, your voice isn't needed there. That's not yours to pick up. So leave it where it is.
Oh, I'm having such like a visceral response in my body right now, and tears as well. It's so interesting because even before I interviewed, or, before I sat down with you today, when my boyfriend and I were hiking, and I said to him, I was like, Jonas, why do I always get this nervous before I interview? I'm like, I know that Ace is this beautiful, loving, light soul. We're going to have this amazing conversation. But what you were just saying, that pinged something in me so deeply, which is, it'll bring tears to my eyes. It's, shit. It's that 17-year-old girl. I mean, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Because after my mom died, that's when I developed a panic disorder. And that's really, my body didn't even know how to process, like, what was going on to physically, I did not expect this response right now, but that's the power in your words, Ace. But yeah, so it's interesting as you were saying that this many years later, there's something in my body that remembers this fear space. And a lot of it is connected to speaking out, speaking my truth. That happened, after she passed. There was a lot of me that just held in what I really wanted to say to people or about the experience. So I guess just going off of what you were just talking about, it's so important. And I'm saying this to the listeners, recognizing and soothing that inner child, is so massive. And also knowing when sometimes you need to really embody and look at your adult self. And as you were saying, but look at how far I've come. Look at how much I've persevered and how much I've created in my life. And reminding yourself of that. Oh, sorry. What you said was so beautiful and really hit a deep.
Good. I mean, don't apologize. It's like, I've just been, like, I was talking to my friend yesterday and I said to him, when did you first realize you were really good looking? And he was like, maybe when I was like 12, I think. I mean, I don't know. I think around 12, because girls would like me and write me letters and and I was like, okay. And so I thought about that, Gina, and I said, I did not think of myself as beautiful at 12. I hated my gap teeth. Like, even though I love it now, like, I didn't like my smile. Like, I was just so hard on myself. Right. And I realized when I was talking to him, I said, I don't think I really realized how beautiful I was, like truly beautiful, and owned it and like loved myself until I was like maybe 30 or 35. And I'm 38 now. And so the fact that this is emotional, it's absolutely, I get it, because it is for me too. When yesterday when I asked him that question, because I was like, I don't think I ever asked myself that question. And realizing like never again. And what unearthed all of this was like in my yoga teacher training, where it was just like, oh shoot, I hadn't been using my voice this whole time. And I'm not a shy person. I hadn't been standing in my authenticity this whole time. I hadn't been owning the powerful person that I am, the light that I am, the source. I hadn't been owning it, that I am the source, because I am of God, and really saying that and not feeling, oh, what will people think? What will people say? Well, I hope they say about themselves, because it's true, that's, and really like owning who I am now. And I was not like this 5 years ago, I especially wasn't like when I was 12. And so I was like, God, that is so cool. He goes, yeah, I never thought anything bad about myself. I was like, wow. I mean, I was like, wow. I really was like, that is amazing. That is amazing, because I can't even say it's a male, female, and just for the use of like binary terms here. I can't even say it's like, oh, it's a male, because I know men. I know men who would not confidently say that in the same way that my friend did yesterday. Like, I know that, men who have dealt with like depression and all these kind of different things, and women too. But it's, so we can't even, isolate it between, gender, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or assigned gender at birth. And so, but I was just like blown away by that. And I said, wow, I know now that, and he said to me, he goes, it's because you didn't have a friend like me. And he was dead serious. Which I love, which I was like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And not, I have great friends. I've been blessed with some dynamic friends in my life, but we were all kind of dealing with our own stuff. And if you just have this one friend that's like not dealing with the stuff that everybody else around them seems to be dealing with like, identity and, their worth in the world and whatnot, it's a perspective shift. It's a perspective shift for sure. And so I was like, well, I'm grateful for the lessons that I learned along the way, the power of my voice along the way. And I mean, I don't think, I'm not even going to say, oh, it took me this long, because I'm like, what is time, right? Time is irrelevant. As long as you come to it, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. That's an individual journey, right? So I mean, just me being able to even have this conversation with you today, to be able to do the thing that I did last weekend with mommy daughters, like Gina, I sat in a circle, I facilitated a circle of girls who were my age when my mom died, and they read love letters to their mothers. I had the moms stand up and read love letters to the daughters. I was able to sit in this circle and do this. 19 years ago, 20 years ago, there's no way I could, if someone was to say, the death of your mother is going to bring about all this beautifulness in your life and going to be your life's work to hold your mother-daughter enhanced relationships, whether they are passed on or still here. I would have looked at them like they were smoking something dirty, like not even something good, so smoking something dirty. And then, I mean, but the fact that like, yo, I'm sitting here now doing this, like, excuse me?
Excuse me?
But yes.
But yes, I am. Yes,
I am.
Yes, I am. It's so, yes, I am. And to your point, you know, grief, what you're saying, that ability to be able to hold space for mothers and daughters to read their love letters to one another. And again, as you were saying that, and I just went, oh, you know, it also reminds me, and I was talking about this with a client yesterday, how grief is also not linear. And grief is not linear, and how much wisdom can come from losing somebody, and how for you and I know that my mother's passing is what has, I mean, the empathy, the space that I can hold for others, that came from her passing. And I wanted to ask you, how has grief, because I know for myself, being a 17-year-old teenager, it was, you know, and as I had that very, you know, that emotional response before, it was debilitating for me as a teenager. Whereas now it's the wisdom and it's everything that I am today. And it's, how has grief shifted for you? I mean, you just sort of said it. You're holding this circle for mothers and daughters in this incredible space. But going back to when you were talking about the young Ace you were laying next to your mom, and your mom had pancreatic cancer. You were 19? You were 19? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like, being able to, that's how grief has, you know, just kind of the major thing lately. The latest thing was being able to facilitate that experience during this beautiful, beautiful mother-daughter retreat that I was invited to be part of. And also me being able to hold the monthly workshops that I hold for daughters who lost their mom, or women who are grieving the loss of a relationship that they never had with their mother, right? Yeah. Also being able to show up in the world and move about in the world in a way where taking the lessons of, okay, when I first graduated from college, I took a job traveling around the country, leasing apartments in a new city and state every 6 to 8 weeks, you know, and doing that, moving around, because I was like, I can't go back to Atlanta right now. I can't be there because that's where mom passed away, and I just don't want to deal with that right now. And so me running and then eventually like setting up roots in Los Angeles was like, okay, now we're going to deal with the grief. Like now I have to hold space for this, or now I have to begin to freeing this from my body. And so grief has shown up in a way where each year it's different. Like my mom's birthday is March 8th. My birthday is April 15th. She passed away April 20th. And then you have Mother's Day right around the corner. So it's been March through May. I never really know. In this past, like, you know, with her passing away, you know, the anniversary of her death, I felt like the whole week I was walking in mud. I felt like my feet were stuck in the mud. You know, it's been 19 years this year. Next year, it'll be officially, I will have lived longer without my mom than with her. So it just, but because I'm doing work that I love so much and I'm resigned and I'm, working for myself, full-time entrepreneur, I was like, oh, I'm doing like, for the first time ever on her birthday, I was working. It was such a full day, but it was all doing stuff that I love to do, right? Why she worked so hard. And I was getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so then it was like, okay, so cool. Maybe it'll be different this year. Maybe her death anniversary will be different. But I had these plans. I had these to launch some stuff on the anniversary of her death. And I was just like, I couldn't get it together. And then off the heels of a fiery birthday week, which is amazing. And then, the week of her death anniversary was just kind of like, and then the next week it was like, okay, alrighty, we're back. We're rejuvenated. We just went through grief a different way this year. The flag was different this year. The colors were different, the texture, the temperature, the place, the time, the emotion, everything was different. And I think that is the biggest lesson grief has taught me. And I love that you tell your clients, and I tell mine too, it is not linear, is that it is not linear in the slightest bit. It is not even on the same, it's not even on the same plane most of the time. So there's the ancestral plane, there's, ethereal planes, there's, the earth where we're here. And it just taking it and being able to really receive it with hands up, hands open, heart open, and just kind of like enhanced grace. Like I'm just extra tender with myself. And so, because I can easily because sometimes we feel like, oh my God, it's debilitating. Like 19-year-old Ace was debilitated. You want to talk about numbing. I numbed for 2 years after my mom died. Like people were like, oh, did you know? I mean, you realize your mom just died? Like, yeah, she's sick. Anyway, I'll have another drink, I'll have it. Let's go to another party. Let's do this. And then what happens is, okay, I'm practicing yoga and all the stuff like helping me grieve the death of my mother. And I was asked this recently on a podcast that I was on, like, so how did you deal with the grief? Were you like, okay, I'm ready? I was like, no, I would go to yoga class, go to a party that night, drink way too much, and then wake up the next day and still be feeling, because now, I was used to having these emotions buried, and then now they're coming to the surface, and it's like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do with you? No one's telling me what to do with the grief when it comes up. They're just telling me how to manage to get through it, right? So it's like, well, what am I supposed to do when it comes up? Like, what am I supposed to do with this feeling that I'm having in my body? Like, how am I supposed to hold this? No one's talking about this, and no one was talking about it for me, right? To me. And so just being able to recognize that, oh my gosh, well, grief is going to show up, and she's going to show up, and she's going to do what she's going to do. Like I wrote about it in my newsletter last week, where it was like, she's not going to send a calendar invite. There's not going to be a text. There's not going to be an email. There's not going to be, a follow-up. There's not going to be a check-in. It's just going to be like, yo, what's up? I'm here. And are we going to work together this time? Or are you going to pretend I don't exist? And it's like, well, shit, sit down. Let's get a cup of coffee because we're in it, and, and the thing is, it's like each time, it's just different and it's just beautiful. And I'm grateful for the life and the time that I had with my mother. And just kind of like, to your point is saying, like, in the passing of my mom was like the most devastating thing I have ever experienced in my life and will ever experience in my life. So that's a pretty high bar. Nothing's touching that. Nothing's touching it. And I recognize nothing's touching it. So therefore now what I'm liberated in is like, okay, so hard stuff's going to happen. I might not have my business plan perfect. Somebody might hurt my feelings. This relationship might not work out. He might say something that's not nice. A friend might leave me out, but it's like, but is it anything like losing your mother? And it's like, no. Never. So having that and gracious to my mom for this beautiful life that she gave me and my brother and her beautiful life. The ultimate sacrifice she had was the last sacrifice that she could do for us, was like, her body was tired. Her spirit was not. Her spirit's still very much here, but her physical body was like, I'm tapping out. I've done enough.
Yeah. I'm just going to take another sacred pause for that one. Yeah. Moms, the cord is real. That cord to our mothers, like you said, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's the most intense pain. I think it's the bar. The bar has been set for both of us,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting thing to navigate the world. And also to any listener who's, tuning in right now, losing a parent and particularly, I mean, I'm not saying that fathers are hugely important, but there's that maternal, that life force energy. It's a big one. And it lives with us and it lives within us and around us. And that's something that I honor. I mean, I feel my mom's fierceness and sass. And anytime somebody says like, "You're real sassy, Gina," I'm like, that is Kitty Valentina Ferrero. That is my motherfucking mom, and it's just so, and honoring, which brings me to, I wanted to ask you how on Mother's Day, because I know holidays bring up so much for people, and it brings up, a lot of my clients and women and men that I've worked with who have not lost their mother, but have had really emotionally abusive mothers or emotionally absent or neglectful. And so these sort of, as I like to call them, these Hallmark holidays, that they elicit so much out of all of us, what we have, what we don't have. But I like to look at it as, well, what can we honor, right? And so for you, how do you have any rituals, or how do you honor mom on Mother's Day?
Yeah, and I want to also kind of
Yeah.
like back up to that point of like people, having these, tough relationships with their mom, is that in the that's just like another gift that she's left me, is my because that's what we all miss. Like, yes, you miss the physical presence of your mom being here, but we miss that. That's why you can feel like your mom has passed away when she actually hasn't, because we miss that natural nurturing ma energy, maternal energy that she bestows upon us. Like, and that's what we miss. And that's what we miss the most, is the hugs and the love and the like understanding and the like the love without limits, the unconditionalness of everything they do for us.
Yes.
Like, no conditions put on it whatsoever. Like, what, mama bear, what do you need? Right? We all miss that. So I've not had a kid, but I feel very much that I am a mother. I have mom energy inside of me, and my ability to facilitate these workshops has been my greatest way to honor her. To honor her. 5 years ago, I started honoring all mothers. I was like, okay, everyone who's lost a mom can come. And then I was like, wait, well, what about people who, can't go home to be with their mom? What about people who have tough relationships with their mom? Living in LA, there's a lot of people who aren't from here. So, and their mom lives in other places. And so I was like, this is going to be the way that I honor my mom. And so other people can honor theirs too. So I started doing that. And I have a workshop on Saturday, and then Sunday I'll teach a special editions of the kids yoga class, Mommy and Me yoga class. And then I'll go see my brother and his family, and we'll celebrate my sister-in-law and her mom and her grandma. And but that has been the biggest thing for me, is honoring my mother on Mother's Day, is holding this workshop so that people can feel the joy that she embodied by way of me. And I can, help to acknowledge the fact that, like, sometimes I had to forgive my mom. My mom was not perfect. I had to work on forgiving her in the spiritual realm. I had to work on forgiving myself. I was mad at her for a lot of choices that she made that she maybe thought thought that were the best for us. But at the end of the day, they were selfish.
Yeah.
They were selfish for her.
Yeah.
And it was like, but she would do anything for us. But it was also just kind of like, she's a woman too.
Yeah.
And she had her own needs and, wanting to have some sort of like, life of her own. And so I get that now. And so working with us in our spiritual relationship and I love my mom so much. I miss her in everything. And from the tips of my nails down to like the skin of everything that I do, I miss her. So that's why I'm very intentional in bringing her energy in everything that I do. So especially on Mother's Day, I do these workshops, but in all the work that I do, in my candle line, the embodiment of the I am, I wish that I'd been able to share this with her while in the physical realm so she could recognize how beautiful of a goddess and a queen she was, how she was a faithful woman, faithful. And so she embodied the I am of God. She embodied that fully. And so me doing my candle line, me having the workshops, me waking up every day and saying yes to myself, choosing joy and remaining faithful is in honor of her, and that's my greatest work. And that's my work now, Gina, that I'm being called to do is the mother-daughter relationship and the mother-son relationship, the mother energy, the mother relationship that the nurturing, the heart space that we miss when our moms pass away. Yeah. We miss when they are not near us because we can't see them because of COVID and whatnot, right? We miss that. So that is my greatest way to honor her. Yeah. And especially during Mother's Day.
Yes. I mean, I can't think of a better way to honor your mother. That is just, yeah. And it made me think even, before we sat down today, I went, wow, if my mom was alive, because she knew me until I was 17 and I knew her until she was 46. And if she saw me with a full-fledged private practice podcast, I just purchased my own home off money that I made solely myself and all these things that, I think the fear, and as you said, piggybacking on the forgiveness, part of me stepping into my power as well has also been part of, well, it's twofold. There's been a forgiveness process in really forgiving my mom for the areas where she didn't step into her own worthiness and she didn't step into her own power. And my mom was a fiercely beautiful, super smart, again, lots of sass, lots of personality, but endlessly sort of was really hard on her looks, hard on her body, never thought she was smart enough, even though she was a VP of a company, landscaping company. And so I think part of my honoring is really stepping into my power and really going, this is, Mom, I'm doing this for you, because she was a powerful woman, extremely powerful, but she couldn't quite honor it. And, and I'm sure as you've done your own, or at least I'm just going to speak for myself when I look at cancer and the manifestation of cancer. And I'm never going to say cancer manifests because of one thing or another. I would never. But I feel, there has been deep work on my side to forgive and let go and how she did things. And then also living my life. And I was saying this to one of my clients recently who had her mother just passed, and getting after life. Really, like I have such a joy and such a like a fervent passion for life. And I feel that's also really is my honor to her. And then on a side note, I think, this coming Mother's Day, I wrote you in the email, my mom was obsessed with Tracy Chapman, and that Tracy Chapman, Tina Turner, and there are specific women that I feel like my mom listened to almost embody and bring that up in her. So I think I'm just gonna this Sunday get silent, get still, meditate, listen to some music, and honor the fierce woman that she was. And doing this, this is last thing that I'll say, Ace, it was so interesting to me because I'm never on Instagram, but I started following you. And I was thinking to myself, oh, who am I going to have next on the show? And then I went, it's Mother's Day. And it was this very synchronistic You and I had just started talking about it. I'm so thoroughly grateful for you coming on today and us honoring our mothers in this way. It means everything to me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This
Yeah.
is an honor. Like when you reach out, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful for you in this space and, the space in between.
Yeah.
I love this because it's like, it's so important. It's like the pauses, right? The ability to kind of just be like, okay, I'm moving in this right now. I'm moving in like, just being able to go and run errands yesterday and buy stuff for my business and then like do work this morning and just like all for my business and all for just like other people and like, but just really like, this is so great that I get to do this every single day. And it's like, this is exactly why my mama worked her ass off for my brother and I, so we could, really be the powerful beings that she birthed, like that she put here as her. I chose her and I chose her for a reason to be my mom, so I could learn and I could grow and I could be this beautiful person that I am. I could be this vessel. I could be this light. I could be love, and I could meet other people who are my mirrors like you, like Jen and like all my friends that I call my sisters and my amazing brother who's the father we never had, and me being able to make peace with my father in his spiritual realm, reach out to my mom's ex-husband who is still alive, but really reaching out and just really, just being like, dang, my mom is awesome. Cynthia Geneva Lawson. I am the daughter of Cynthia Geneva Lawson, granddaughter of Eleanor Cecilia Lawson, and my name is Alicia Krista Easter, and I am a brilliantly beautiful person who is love and passion and effort and just becoming who I'm meant to be. So I'm so, so grateful to be here with you. I love you.
Oh, I love you. Man, your soul is just like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to ask you a couple of my rapid fire questions as we sort of round it up, and then you can let everybody know at the end how to find you, your offerings, all of that goodness, because I know everybody listening is feeling your love, your light, and your passion. So, okay, I ask everybody these questions. The first two are a little bit more silly. And okay, first one. Are you more of a Beyonce or Rihanna woman or both?
Oh my God, it's Beyonce.
Oh. Okay. I mean,
I love Rihanna, but Beyonce.
I know.
I oftentimes wake up and wonder, another day where I'm not Beyonce. Like, okay, right? Great.
I almost one time wrote down, I was going to write, and I'm like, oh, Gina, this is such a lame post that you're going to, but I was thinking to myself, because sometimes this is truth. When I'm having a down day, if everybody who knows me knows that I wear my white bathrobe all the time. Like I live in it. And if I'm having a down day, I'm in my bathrobe, I throw on Beyonce and a little bit of like red lipstick. And I just through my house. I mean, the voice and talk about the soul and the passion of that woman. She truly, Beyonce, if you are ever listening to my podcast, you changed my life.
Now.
Right?
We love you. We love you, Beyonce.
We love you. We love you. We love you. You have empowered so many women and just like the juice that she brings. So yes. And Rihanna, we love you too. Okay. Second question. If you could have dinner with any person on the planet, who would it be?
If I could have dinner with any person on the planet,
yes,
who would it be?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Any person?
Any person. This is a big one. I had to think long and hard about this.
If I could have dinner with any person on the planet, who would it be? Gosh, I would have dinner. I would have dinner with Beyonce.
So would I.
I mean, like I at first I was like, gosh, I mean, would it be silly that I say Beyonce? But like, I would have dinner with Beyonce.
So would I.
I would have dinner with, gosh, I wish we could do like an age range thing because it's like, but yeah, Beyonce, 100% Beyonce.
Right?
Yeah.
Because doesn't everybody kind of want to get to know what's really going on? Like to have that deep conversation, at least me,
Yeah.
and just have a glass of wine.
For sure. And she's a Virgo and I love Virgos. My nephew's a Virgo. Okay. When's your birthday again? That's right. I think we talked about this.
September 12th.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. My nephew is September 3rd. Shout out to Quad. My nephew. Shout out to my niece Lawson. Love her. She's an Aries. April 1st.
Yes.
She's my twin flame.
Oh.
But yeah. So I love Virgos, and so I think Beyonce for sure.
Okay. Dinner with Beyonce. Okay. Perfect. All right. Next 3 questions are more on the serious side, but I know you can handle anything. So, what do you think? No, that'll be the next question. Why do you think we're here on this planet? And you've said why you are here on this planet, but why do you think Earthlings, humans, why are we here?
I think we're here to serve.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're here to serve. I think that we're here to wrap up, to add our mark. As guests, I think we're here to serve as guests. And so the ultimate way that the work for me is in service of myself and in service of others, and being in the service of yourself isn't selfish. And it's actually the opposite. It's like taking care of yourself, your mask on first sort of thing, and keeping the air flowing through my body so I can continue to be in service of others. So I think we're all here to serve.
I think
just kind of talking about our Queen Beyonce, she serves.
Yeah.
She's in entertainment to serve.
She is.
And that's an ultimate service. And the fact that, yes, she's selfishly getting, paid handsomely for it and whatnot, and she's getting to live her truth and her purpose here. But at the end of the day, she's in service, So I think we're all here to serve.
I do too. I really do. And after 2020 in particular, I won't digress, but what a year, what a year and what a time that I think we all realize we have to move from the me to the we. We have
absolutely.
to collectively look at how we're impacting one another, how we're impacting the earth. All of it. It was just, and interestingly enough, as you brought up right in the beginning, 2020, that year of grief. And how can we serve each other as we transition into this zone of we're moving out of grief into, the US is opening up, but a lot of the world isn't, right? India is having a hell of a time right now. And again, how do we continue to serve when we're in a space where, 70% of this country is vaccinated, et cetera, et cetera? How do we continue? So I love that you brought that up. Yes. Okay. Next question. What do you think happens after death?
What do I think happens after death? Okay, so this is interesting because I listen to Sadhguru almost every day.
Oh, yes.
And he said, if you live to 85 or 80 plus years, you're not coming back. You've lived 180 full moons, I believe. And so that's either 180 or 108. I'm mixing it up, so I apologize, listeners, in advance. But essentially, the gist is this. I believe that if you are not done here yet, I think that you might go on to another life and complete your mission there as however it needs to be completed. If you've not met all your soul age numbers, which I think it's like 1 to 9. And so I think that you go to heaven, you get a new assignment and you continue, and your spirit gets another assignment, or your body stays buried and you get a new body, maybe you come back as a cat, a dog, I don't know. But I do believe that, but I did agree with Sadhguru, when you get to 80 something plus years old, it's like, you're done. You're going to rest because you've completed all the life cycles that you could complete. So if you retire, if you transition prior to that, you may have some finishing to do.
Okay.
So that's what I think happens after we die. So yeah.
Yeah, I similarly align with that as well. Yes. And interestingly enough, one of my clients, I'm sure she'd be fine with me sharing this. She, in an ayahuasca journey, she talked about how within it she could see every past life, and each one past life was she was a blade of grass. And then in the next, she was a boy in a village who died of a disease. And then it continued, and the medicine showed her this journey of all of her incarnations and then where she is now, which I thought,
Wow.
I was like, woof. Yes. Okay. So last two questions. I'm throwing in a bonus just for you. Okay. So what is a saying, a sentence, or a mantra that a teacher, a mentor, a minister, anybody that has said to you that you feel just from time to time, it just resonates in your core, in your soul?
Yeah, so I have it is one of my well, I have two. Can I do two since you're going to throw me a bonus?
Yes.
Okay, so I have one that my friend says all the time, don't chase it, be it.
Oof.
And this other one is by Miriam Hasna. You found yourself. Let that be the most important relationship from now on.
Yeah. 100%.
100%. Like
100%.
it's like, oh shoot, I found myself.
Yeah.
Hey sis.
Hey sis.
Like that's it. That's it. Okay, is this serving us or what? Yeah.
Man. Yes. Yes. Okay. This one I wanted to ask you because I really think because you're somebody that runs a circle and a group with mothers and daughters, and is there something that you can offer to children where they have experienced major trauma or neglect or wounding, and just even saying their mother's name? And I've experienced this. I mean, I've worked in homeless shelters, outpatient centers. A lot of people have very charged and painful relationships with their moms. So is there an exercise that you would give to somebody that, like, if a letter writing or just something that you feel would be helpful in how to hold that relationship not in disdain? Because that's something I really work on with people, is how to not hate their mother for the wounding that she puts onto them, and to look at how she is her own wounded individual. What would you say if you were working with a client? Or
is this a child or an adult?
Good,
or
very
is it just
excellent question. Let's go with more. I would say my listeners are more adults, so let's go with adult for now. Yeah.
Okay. I would offer this, like, and I actually talk about this in my I am workshops, and that I'll, and with my clients as well. Take them out of the equation. Let's take them out of the equation of how you want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they're doing is they're being the boss of how you get to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take them out of the equation of how you want to feel, now you can focus on you. Now we can say, how do we want to feel? And what helped me a lot with regards to when I was still in my corporate job was every day I'd wake up. Miriam Hasna, the teacher that I follow, and I love her work. She said, instead of writing a to-do list, how do I want to feel today?
Mm-hmm.
How do I want to feel today? And when I wrote that down every day, this is how I want to feel, this is how I want to feel, this is how I want to feel. And then when I started to feel less and less this way when I was at work, at that job, I knew it was like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And so I would invite people to start. This is, I mean, it's so much, as you know, this is your profession. So it's so much. But the thing is, I say it's so much. So much is one of like my filler words. Also the word intense. It's really funny, actually. But I would say starting with recognizing how you want to feel. Mm-hmm. If you say plain as day, Ace, I want to feel angry. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then so now you know how it feels to feel angry. Mm-hmm. Is this making you feel like Are people wanting to spend time with you? Are you wanting to socialize? Are you wanting to eat good food? Are you wanting to drink good drinks? Are you wanting to drink enough water? Are you wanting to exercise? Choosing to feel angry? Choosing to feel this way? If the answer is no, then let's shift that.
Yeah.
So I would start with, I talk about this a lot in my workshops, but really, and with my clients, is starting with, how do I want to feel today?
Yeah.
And taking the power back away from the terribleness and the humanness of our mothers, of our life givers, and bringing it back to you that you are the source.
Yeah.
You are the source. So recognizing that you are the source, you get to choose how you want to feel. And so make a list. How do I want to feel? And let's start there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love the idea of humanizing our mothers. I think it's really important to humanize our mothers and understand that our moms, come from all different backgrounds and messaging and their own traumas. And, but as you said, but also the choice, choosing how do you want to feel. And again, I want to preface to anybody listening, being somebody who I've had to go through my own trauma work, and I want to speak.
Same.
And I want to speak to anybody that we're not making light of this by any means, that, there a lot of times there does need to be deep trauma work around it. And if you have done that work, what I would also say, in addition, there's a therapist, Lori Gottlieb, who talks about writing a letter from that person's perspective as to why they behave the way that they do in the world. And that might be too charged of an exercise for somebody, a child, or, even an adult kid, but something to consider. I think I've done it before when I felt really hurt by somebody or family member, friend, whoever, right from their perspective. Why did they behave? Why did they do the things that they did? And what in their life brought them to that space?
So I love that we have to humanize our mom. We have to remember that they, are dealing with stuff. That's why I'm doing this thing now where, or this really helped me to find additional ability to have these conversations with ease and flow. And it's because I've just been telling the story, and I'm doing this work of like finding out about my mom before she was my mom. So that's why I had to make a decision to reach out to her ex-husband, who reigned terror over our house for the better part of a decade. And, and I had to make, because I was like, if I want to learn more about my mom before she was my mom, or as a wife, as, a friend, as a sister, as, a bestie or whatever, it was like, I need to have tough conversations with people that I've been really angry at for almost 20 years, but that I had to make that choice, because it was like, if I'm going to be doing this work, which I am doing this work, it starts with me. It starts with like, alrighty, so we're going to have these conversations and taking my time with it. Like, I have been through immense trauma, even before I was 10 years old, and then kind of continuous on through there that really could have, that shifted the trajectory of my life. Now, I could have allowed that to continue happening. We could still like say, oh, my dad did this. Oh, I was, sexually abused when I was like 9, I was raped, and I was all these things, like, right. And I was all of those things, but I could sit in that, I could muddle in that, or I could get out here and do my work. And so I do want to preface to your listeners that, listen, that's why I said it's a lot for me to say, do this thing, and then all of a sudden, poof, the magic dragon, you're all of a sudden healed. It's like, no, this is me sitting, or you're hearing my voice because I continued. I planted these seeds one at a time. Sometimes I'll touch this work and I won't touch it for 6 months. I used to. I'll be practicing yoga and I hadn't been on my mat for a year, because it was like, I don't want to touch it right now. So grace, ultimate grace at the end of the day. Lead with grace. Understand that, write the letter, how do I want to feel? And then start with saying, I'm mad and I need to forgive you. I'm mad and I need to forgive myself.
Yes, ace. I'm just on that. Baby. Yeah, baby. And that smile. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, your face froze for a second. You're back. This hi internet. This is going to kill me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you brought today. And you know what? And I don't think I've ever said this to somebody. That's not true. But on the show, I want to thank you for doing the work that you do on yourself. Because I
Thank you.
truly believe, as somebody who, I liken myself to, I think I'm a pretty good therapist and healer and help people move through trauma and stuck points. It is really how we're going to shift the world. It's
Yep.
really looking at what are you bringing energetically each day out into the world, and how much of your wounding is spilling out onto the world, and are you taking charge and taking ownership? So I thank you. I have so much appreciation and gratitude for humans who take and have the courage to dive deep into their stuff. So truly, yeah, it's an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my love. I was excited to be here, and I'm excited to keep doing this work, So I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you. And now, okay, everybody who's listening, how to find Ace, what she's offering, anything, you tell them.
Okay, so you can find me in all the socials at Ace Yoga LA, my website, aceyogala.com, where you can purchase a candle. You can book me for private coaching, Reiki, meditation sessions, take some of my public class offerings that I have as well. I'm on a podcast with my bestie, Jennifer Pastiloff, called What Are You Bringing? We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So anywhere you get your podcast, you can listen to us there. And I have monthly I Am workshops in regards to just kind of inspired by my candle line, the I Am Candle Collection. And I also host monthly workshops for people who've lost their mom or who are grieving the loss of a relationship that they never had with their mother. So, and lastly, a big thing that will be out, that's not out yet, but I've started a fund in my mom's name to raise money to create a platform for us to, as people who've lost their mothers, who want to, garner the ma energy that they've been without. So I'm now crowdfunding for that. So I'll share the link with you. It should be ready today. And I'm excited about our goal getting to at least $10,000 by the start of summer. So it's time for me to continue broadening this message, and I can only do that with the help of the community, and bringing this local and global, healing for the Ma energy that's inside of all of us.
Yes.
So, yes.
You are a joy. You are a light. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, actually, I lit your candle before this podcast, and it was I Am Brave. And it was a little reminder of just like, bring it, Gina. You can always do this in podcasts. So thank you. You are really bringing your light into the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my love. Stay brave in your pursuit of joy. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Mwah. Thank you so much. Mwah.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, friends. If you have been enjoying Spaces Between, please take a moment to subscribe, and leaving a review is the cherry on top. Thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you next week.